You know what we could do is take this. I'll hold that with you. Take the. Is that good?
Yeah.
All right.
Just don't try to walk.
Yeah. Nobody stand up. And Sean, do you have a mic down there?
You should walk forward.
Yes, I do.
Excellent. All right, you guys. Well, why don't we go ahead and kick this thing off here? I think you guys are ready, aren't you?
Yeah!
Excellent. Rangers, you guys ready?
Yes.
I love it. That's great.
Ready!
First up, this is Steven, and I'm Gemma.
That's right, guys. And we are honored to be Thank you so much. We are honored to be your host for RangerStop 6, and hopefully RangerStop 7, and hopefully RangerStop 45. You know, it's going to be great.
come on.
And we got some first-timers up on the stage with us here. You guys,
Yes.
welcome to you both. Excellent. Bringing the power of the
Yoshi, come
boom
on.
from RPM. There you go. Look at. Are you going to tie those together?
Yoshi is like under my shoelace for some reason.
It's good to see
He's
that.
been naughty.
It's good to see that none of these people get along, right? I mean, they never talk to each
Yoshi,
other.
come on.
That's it. It's in front of Santa. You're gonna do this? I mean, he can see you.
You guys have to behave extra well if Santa's here.
He can see you when you're sleeping, dude. That's appropriate. I like the colors. It's Santa colors. It's perfect. Anyway, gang, let's go ahead and kick things off. How has everyone been? Everyone's been doing well, I hope.
Yeah.
You've all got microphones. You've all got things, and you're all from different eras. I want to start though. Let's go chronologically, starting with the season that was earliest of all of us. I'm trying to be nice about this, and we'll go with Sean C.W. Johnson. Everybody.
It's the most polite way of saying I'm old that
It's,
I've heard in a while. So
I think I can speak for the audience when I say you look fantastic.
Yes.
You really do.
Hey,
Yeah,
man.
you're still working out. It looks like. No, it's good. Always Ranger fit. You know, there you go. But I wanted to say first, thanks for coming, and also.
Thank you.
Lightspeed Rescue was kind of one of the first seasons to kind of break the traditional Power Ranger mold. Government agency, basically. Everyone knew who you all were from the get-go. And when you stepped into Power Rangers, what did you know about the show? Did you watch it, or did you think it was done? Did you? How'd you get that?
yeah, so I obviously knew of the franchise. It was pretty hard to escape in the early mid-90s after Mighty Morphin. So it was very much in the forefront of pop culture and all that at the time. But truthfully, I had not watched any episodes prior to really hearing about the audition, going through that process. And at the time, Lost Galaxy was airing. So Lost Galaxy was really my first true exposure to the franchise outside of a cursory, this is what, Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson look like, and, the general, concept of Zords and that sort of thing. But, yeah, so Lost Galaxy was my first exposure, and that's how I got introduced.
Kind of a crash course to it. It was awesome, but it was fun, and a lot of people really think Lightspeed Rescue was so unique because it was so different.
Yeah, and truthfully, I didn't even realize until years later how much it did break the mold initially. I mean, they've had a lot of, variations throughout the seasons now that it's gone on, but I didn't know that it was the first season where, even as Rangers out and about, the general public knew who we were. I didn't realize that it had been a mystery in the worlds prior to, so that was neat. And then also the introduction of the Titanium Ranger, Rhett Fisher. I also didn't realize that a fine gentleman he is. But I also didn't realize that was a uniquely American thing. That this was the first time we had a Ranger that wasn't, based on Sentai. So I didn't realize how much ground we were breaking at the time.
It's really awesome, and it holds up too. Netflix, everybody's watched it. It's one of the popular.
Like a fine wine, it just gets better with age.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thanks so much, man. Thank you.
Speaking of Rhett, you guys, Rhett and his wife had a baby this weekend.
It's all over Instagram. It's beautiful. It's so adorable. It's so fun. And he still has that 1999 haircut with the spots.
So congrats
I
to
remember
Titanium
3
Ranger.
years.
That's
Yes. And they're all doing well.
good. Yeah. So you guys stay in touch?
We do. Yeah. Our cast is all very, very close, good friends, and yeah, Rhett and I were. I don't think I'm tipping too much of but we were texting last night. So
Oh, good.
Very happy.
Tell him I say hey.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right, guys. We'll move on just a little bit. So we're just in the middle of you all. But next, chronologically, I suppose, would be Power Rangers Wild Force, guys.
Yeah.
We got Jessica.
And Emery Crouch.
It's perfect. Now, you guys, you had a unique distinction of being I almost want to call it the transitional season, right? Can you guys talk about that? What was it like in the studio when you're like, oh, we're selling this, it's not going to be here? Did it affect production at all?
I personally, we'll share microphones. It personally did not really affect us and production at all. It was, at first, it was kind of rumors. And then as the season ended and we saw props come down and the crew, who had become family to us as well, I think it affected the crew more because we were season 10 and a lot of them had been with Power Rangers from season 1. So, I know it gets me emotional right now. So, watching them and it was like a death in the family, really. This was the end for them. And I guess the only other feeling that we felt is when we saw in the props room and wardrobe, and they were getting rid of everything because they weren't taking it to New Zealand. They had no reason to keep it anymore. So that was a pretty emotional time for not only the cast but the crew.
Yes, what she said.
Well done, well done.
Basically, that's perfect. All you gotta do is be the second one with the microphone. That's how it goes. But it's pretty cool, you guys. And,
I will just say that yes, Jessica and I, even though we've been there for just 1 year, obviously, it was extremely emotional. We had a really hard last week, though probably many Rangers, but every time we looked at each other, we'd start crying. And that last scene that the princess was in why am I getting emotional?
it just means you care.
I know, they cast me as the mentor, as the nurturer, and that's exactly how I felt to the Rangers. But when I had to take back their vests and say goodbye, I'll never forget that moment. That definitely wasn't acting.
Yeah.
That was true. That was.
I could understand taking the morphers, but why the clothes? I mean, what if they wanted them? You know?
Oh, that was a meta play on.
Yeah, exactly. That's good, Yosh. That's good. You got it. But it was a pretty groundbreaking season. It was just like all of the shows have some sort of unique thing about them. It was the first kind of more fantasy season almost than the action-oriented, coming out of things like Lightspeed Rescue and Time Force. It was a pretty right turn. It was like a totally different type of thing. But you guys got to team up with the Time Force guys, and then you had all the Red Rangers come back. You guys
All of them.
All of them that
All the-
existed.
all the old ones.
All the best ones.
Brennan, were you even? Oh my God. Brennan, were you even born yet when that happened?
Younger than some of the Red Rangers.
Oh my gosh.
Jerry.
Oh my gosh.
Fight.
Oh my God. Oh yes, here we go.
I love everyone.
There it is. That's it. It's nothing but Ranger love here, you guys. You all know that. That's what it's all about. But no, you guys are awesome, and you're on a great show. We're gonna get a lot of questions for the audience later, but I want to move on to New Zealand. Let's say, that's it. The show moves out there. It takes on a new ownership. It's an interesting new thing, and it brings us these two fine characters here.
Yeah? Jem and Gemma!
Jem and Gemma. There we go. So, now, you guys are probably the only two who could share that chair. That's amazing. That's it.
He takes up more room than me.
He
That's
absolutely
always
does.
being
He's
away.
trying to say I have a bigger butt. I do.
So I think,
Basically, Lehman can share that chair with anyone.
yeah, because it's just filling the extra, 8 pounds. But it's the amazing thing about you guys and your season. I have said the word groundbreaking to all of you, so it's almost losing meaning. Yeah, Brendan, thanks for counting. Thanks, I appreciate it. But I think we can all agree that no season has been more different than Power Rangers RPM, right?
Yes.
Right? Here we are in this hopeful universe where there's Lightspeed Rescue protecting people and people flying through space on Terra Venture, and then
Most of the world just dies.
and then you're at the end of Terminator 2, and And here you are in what is now known to be another dimension in the Power Rangers universe. But we got a lot of dimensions. Sometimes they're in danger. That's cool. The good news is you can work together on that. More on that later. No. But how did it feel stepping into the role out there? Did you guys get cast as a team because of your chemistry, or were you cast separately? Did you meet on the set for the first time?
I think the idea was always to have a pair of fraternal twins, right? And so, yeah, they had to find the right mix of people. Yeah, so that was a little bit of a process, wasn't it, Mike?
Yeah, yeah, they had cast the core five first, and then they had cast Jim and Gemma, as opposed to like casting everyone at the same time and making sure that the chemistry was there between like the seven. That was different in terms of the casting process that way.
So yeah, it was a bit of a challenge coming in about halfway through the season when the five had already been so established. How did you find that?
Yeah, no, I would say so. Yeah.
But they were all really lovely.
Yeah,
It was
totally,
just
yeah.
like, it was just strange coming in and, you know, having to have our martial arts training crammed into a few days instead of like the normal few weeks that the other Rangers get. So yeah, it was an accelerated process.
It was also unique because your characters were like genetically kind of something, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, it was never kind of like said there was no background, but they were. I talked to Eddie
you kind of
Gazillion.
make up some.
No. I talked to Eddie Gazillion, and he said the plan was originally that they were like genetically engineered, as opposed to like, I think we trying to get at they were genetically like something else.
No, I was going to say engineered that you would, you know.
Yeah, yes, that was the original plan that Eddie had given them. That unfortunately we didn't get to explore when the season had transitioned different executive producers. Yeah.
We kind of played it like that, didn't we? Like
Yeah.
We were odd.
Very.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you can tell it was intentional. So that, I mean, not like acting-wise it was perfect, but what I mean is, you know, you can tell that it was deeper meaning behind it.
Yeah,
So you guys did a
yeah,
great
yeah.
job with it. It was a
We
smarter
loved it.
show than, say, Lightspeed Rescue. So.
Whoa.
Whoa! I'm just kidding you guys. I wanted to get some love for Sean, you guys. I wanted to get some love for Sean.
I had someone come to my table yesterday saying like he appreciated like the whole of like the meta gags and you know kind of like calling out a whole lot of the Power Ranger tropes like you know why is there massive explosions behind every time you morph and
Oh yeah.
That was really funny. Yeah, they did.
yeah
some
and just
really
like
good
why
jokes.
do the Zords have eyes kind of thing and
Spandex.
the spandex and
Yep,
going up.
spandex.
Yeah.
It's not spandex.
Not.
That's a great
But
stuff.
yeah, you know, just kind of just going above and kind of pulling those tropes out.
Next we have Dino Charge. We have Brennan and Yoshi.
Hi. Yo.
You guys are awesome. I'm glad you guys are here.
I'm
Okay,
so
I'll keep
cold.
talking. That's right. I want to make sure you guys get the chance.
You're doing great.
I love it.
You don't like working out.
So you guys are also in another dimension, it turns out, on your series.
We're also groundbreaking.
Yes, we are the only season to have destroyed the entire Earth.
That's super groundbreaking, right?
I mean, our planet, at least you guys like inherited it being destroyed. We literally destroyed it.
Yeah.
Like we did it.
We
You guys
did
did
first,
it.
and it was out there.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, it was a necessary evil, right? It was. But you guys, Yoshi, I want to talk about you because you've, not to negate any other cast members, you've been a fan of this franchise for basically your whole life, right?
I have, yeah. Well, I mean, there was a point where I kind of stopped a little bit after Ninja Storm Dino Thunder, and I didn't really watch Mystic Force. I know, he loves
Mystic
that
Force.
stuff, but I didn't watch Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, and then I got back into it around like SPD, Jungle Fury, that kind of stuff. Actually, Jungle Fury was when I watched the show and I was like, I wonder if I could do that. And I was like, nah. And then years later, I got back into it.
That's it, though. But that's fantastic, and then you kept it in the family, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to Peter.
That was all him.
Ninja
That was
Steel.
awesome. But Brennan, you got the role not for your charm, but
I'm not very charming. It's true.
Wow.
But,
What did I get it for?
I like
Your
to rag
words
on
are pointed, my friend.
I
Are you on the naughty list?
maybe. Where's Santa?
You're about to be.
Is Santa
Santa's
still
always
here?
watching.
Yeah, I know. The rule number one they told me was don't anger the Power Rangers, and here I am doing that. But no, but Brennan, no, you're obviously really charismatic and fun, but you have a circus background, right?
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that for a sec? Just let everybody know what you do.
When you stop shivering.
Yeah. So.
Do you want my jacket, buddy?
No, I'm okay.
It is cold in here.
I'm just gonna willpower it. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, in a bit. I got. You know, Peter's here now, Yoshi. I'm sorry. You never trained with us.
Brotherly love.
Anyway, yeah. So I was actually working at the San Diego Zoo as an acrobat when Dino Charge was auditioning, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, I was auditioning for something else, and I saw they were doing Power Ranger auditions, and he went and told them that I was an acrobat, and they're like, oh, well, we want to meet him." And I was like, why? They met me when I auditioned for Samurai and obviously said no. But then I did. I auditioned for Samurai. I did. I went on 3 callbacks and I didn't get it. But that's okay, because then I went, and then I was kind of jaded. And it's like when you don't want it as much, they like you more for some reason. It's like the same thing in dating for whatever. Oh, anyway. So, yeah, so then they're like, callback. I was like, oh, maybe they like me. Callback again. Oh, maybe they actually like me. And then didn't hear anything for a month. They're like, you gotta come one more time. Like, that's stupid. You've seen me like a total of like 8 times by this point. I mean, between like Samurai and, yeah. And then they called us in again, and we had to do one more audition, and then we opened up a magical box, and it was like, congratulations, you're the whatever ranger you were. And so they filmed us in this fake audition. Yoshi and I called each other after. Because like, don't tell anyone. I was like, hey Yosh, did you open a box? He's like, yeah. Did you? I was like, yeah. He's like, what color? I was like, red. I was like, what color? He's like, blue. I was like, yeah.
I think that the reveal is so neat. They're like, what did you do?
They messed up. Basically, when I got in there, I saw Brennan's name on the call sheet right before mine, and it was only his name
for the fake audition.
For the
where
fake
we were
audition,
being
and I was
revealed.
like, well, if I got it, and his name was on the call sheet, it's gotta be. He probably got it. So I gave him a text. I was like, did you do something? Did you do an interesting audition today?
He texted me, and then I called him.
Yeah, he called me. He was like, all right, we got it.
Yeah, because we semi-bonded in the chemistry read, like, because he's like a stunt guy, and I was like, I want to do stunts. Like, what do you do? Like, I do circus stuff. And he's like, yeah, you got to know what a taco is. I was like, I know the food. And that was really it.
Food and working out. That was our bond.
Yeah. So, but he never trains with us anymore, which is why Peter and I are like, but, you know.
Oh my gosh.
That's right!
And Yoshi, I'll
A guy goes out of town, and then, you know, you lose your brother and your friend.
Well, yes, kind of. That's what happened, actually.
Sorry, you were saying something.
That's okay. Yeah, Yoshi, I'll never forget the one Power Morphicon where you opened something and like you found out the emotional, beautiful moment where you found out that Peter became a ranger.
There's pins of it at their table.
There are. Stephanie made those.
So
it's very
cute.
limited, but we're giving them away. So if you come out, yeah.
I didn't get one.
All right. Never mind. There's no more.
That's how it
No,
happens.
it was. I actually like really feel bad about that Power Morphicon because I was really bitter and upset because 2 weeks before, I don't know if you guys know the backstory to it. Peter and I have been like with the whole Power Ranger thing. It's been a long time thing. Like we've been huge fans, etc., etc. I became a suit actor for about 3+ years, which is how I met the other actors and how I kind of got an audition. How I got an audience with the casting director was because the other actors were like, oh yeah, this is the casting director. And I auditioned for Megaforce, so did Peter. Peter got really close on Megaforce, and then when they came back for Dino Charge, Peter was the one who got called back in for that, and I didn't actually go in for that at first until he was like, you gotta just come with me. And then, you know, we did this whole thing, long audition, and I finally got it. And then the next year was Peter, and they were telling me how he was right. I was helping read for it. I was at the auditions. And 2 weeks before the actual announcement, they called me on set at a night shoot because it was in New Zealand. And the executive producer, Chip, was like, hey, so I need to ask you a question. Okay, what is it? It's like, hey, so Peter didn't get it. How should I tell him? Why would you tell me what? That is not how you... And Peter was right next to me, and I was like, trying to hide my face from him. We were on set at a night shoot, and then he was like, I was like, dude, go. I gotta go, and I just hung up on him. And then he calls Peter 5 minutes later, and he sends you a text. He was like, oh, Chip has a text. He wants to talk to me, and my face dropped. I couldn't do it, and he was like, what, I didn't get it or something? I didn't get it. And I was like, no! I'm like crying with him.
is evil.
We're like hugging him, crying. And then he was like, and then he called Chip, and then basically he was like, Chip was like, hey, listen, we'll let you know why you didn't get it. Just give us a call when you're done with work. We had like 5 hours left on set. This is like 12 a.m. We were gonna work until 6 a.m. And we're like this the whole entire time, just sunken in with this deep darkness, you know? And then Peter was like, and then he goes on the drive home, he gets home, he's like, all right, I'm gonna call Chip. Calls Chip, like, what's going on? Why didn't I get it? Why? And he was like, because you did get it. But don't tell Yoshi. No, you tell this part. Where is it?
I can't reach. Well, that one actually, it did exactly go down like that, but I wasn't like super that bummed because at the end of the day, I was bummed, but I was like, at this point, if they really don't want me, that means I'm not meant to be a Ranger. I was like, okay, it's just not in my cards. I've screen tested 4 times. They would know at this point. And I was like, okay, they don't want it, but at least he was kind enough to be like, let me tell you why I didn't get it, And I was like, if he's gonna be nice enough to at least give me the time of day, because if you guys know anything about like auditions, producers won't do that. They won't go out of their way to tell you like why you didn't get it. So I was like, this guy likes me enough to let me know. And I'm like, I'm gonna respect him and talk to him. So on the drive home, he calls me and he was like, I'm gonna need you to pull over. I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, I'm already like not feeling very good. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. What's up, Chip? Why didn't I get it? I'm expecting the same thing that I hear every season. Megaforce 0.2, and then there was, 0.5, not 0.2. There was 0.5, and then Dino Charge. It's always the same thing. It's always, you didn't get it because you just didn't come down to the right mixture. And I was like, okay, I know it's gonna be the same thing. And he was like, look, Peter, you didn't get it, or should I say, Preston. And at that point I was like,
Wait, what?
that's not my name. That's not my name. You got the wrong guy. You're calling the wrong guy. He was like, Preston, because you are the next Blue Ninja Steel Ranger. And at that point, I dropped my phone. I was like, It was just like, it was unreal. It's not something that like producers do.
What did you say to him, Peter?
I'm not gonna say that. There are children in the room.
You can bleep it out.
It's the first time I've ever cussed in front of like a casting director, but I flipped out because it's just not real. So I ended up having to hide that secret from Yoshi.
2 weeks.
Well, the thing that was hard
he lied to me for 2 weeks.
No, it's not like that. It was hard too because we were kind of in similar situations. We hang out every day. Me and Yoshi are actually best friends in real life. We're not just doing it for show. So we would hang out, and then I would have to go to these fittings that everybody had to go to, and I was like, oh no, what am I gonna tell Yoshi? Because he knows everything about me,
I was like, hey, I'm coming over. Where you at? He's like, I'm at. I was like, why are you being weird?
To our Target audition.
I remember you.
Yeah.
He made it that he booked the commercial and that he was going to a fitting for Target, whatever. And then on the day of Power One, he's like, hey, I gotta go early. I'm going to do my Target job,
Fitting, yeah.
whatever. All this stuff. And one of the moments.
Well, the thing is, I also they had to pick me up with a car, so I had to park my car 2 blocks down just so that Yoshi wouldn't see it. But Yoshi saw it,
and I was like, oh, it's Yoshi. But I wasn't thinking. I was already upset, and I didn't want to think about anything else. I think one of the moments we did a hosting job in the middle of all the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then a fan came up and asked for a photo, and we were both wearing blue at the time, just so it was we were playing.
Oh, it's because of Pokemon Go.
We were wearing Pokemon Go blue outfits. It wasn't Power Rangers, but somebody came up and asked, "Hey, can we do the It's Morphing Time
with
thing?"
both of you guys, and
both of us, and my head was like, "No, we can't!" In my head. So the photo, I swear to you, the photo is this.
No, he's an amazing brother.
I was so mad, and I was like, "Why would you bring this up right now?" And I'm crying. And Peter is over here looking all upset, so I'm like, oh my god!
Well, okay, I had to put on a face for Yoshi because I knew that he didn't know,
He was putting on a face oh my god, I'm lying to Yoshi, but I'm seeing the face of oh my god, I didn't get it. And I'm like, oh no! I was like, you're a jerk, man! You don't know what you did, but you're a jerk!
I mean, at the end of the day, though, it's it was really hard to go through, and it's the same thing you. It's we didn't get it at first, but it kind of ended up being a better thing. Because if I had gotten it through Megaforce, I wouldn't have the story. If I'd gotten it in Dino Charge, Yoshi might not have been in it.
Yeah, and the thing is, my character was so specific. That's the only reason I got it.
No. He's also an amazing actor, right?
But the thing is, like, when I went to the thing where Peter was like, "Oh, I'm going to Target audition," I was like, "All right, I'm getting picked up for Power Morphicon." My head was already in a dark space. I was like this the whole time. When we were there, he saw me the whole time. He's like, "Hey, you good?" I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, and you and your friends tried to go in. No. Okay, so the thing is too, like, I had to hide from the previous cast because
No, not all of us. They tried to invite me to go with them. Where were you?
No, you're right. Tabor went in, Dobby went in.
They were like, "Hey, let's go check out who the new cast is."
I don't want to see them. Table.
So basically, like at Morphicon, we're put in like a holding room essentially, and the new cast is in the room next door. And like we're knocking and they're knocking, but like we're not allowed to meet each other. And we're like, this is dumb. And then like Camille and Peter, I mean not Peter, whatever, Michael.
No, and Dobby.
Oh, did all three?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
so everyone except
lingered.
us. Yeah, we were good.
They lingered.
But
I was upset, so I was like, I'm not moving from here. I don't want to see those people.
And I'm just too much of a goody good. But yeah, they're like, we're gonna go run by the guy and like look in the room anyway and see who the Rangers are. And so they literally went over there and ran in and like they heard the door opening and Ninja Seal.
I dove.
They're aware.
Into a table.
So he proved he was a ninja. He literally ran and like jumped under a table.
He
dove, guys. You want to show us?
No,
okay.
My knee hurt.
So he hid, and they literally didn't see him. So like it was a secret because he pulled a ninja move and dove out of the way.
They when they came back, I was still a little bit. I was upset, but I was like, who was the Asian guy? Who did they cast? And they were like, we didn't see an Asian guy. I was like, they didn't even cast an Asian guy. What? I was like, was there an Asian girl? And they were like, no, there's no Asian girl. Are you kidding me? My head was just getting like really red at this point. And it was kind of like, I told Chip, I was like, hey, we should be the ones to like announce the new cast.
This was before
when I assumed that Peter was gonna get it. And I was like, sure Peter was gonna get it. So now I'm like, I gotta announce somebody else. So I'm sitting up there in the panel, I'm like talking about Dino Charge, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna ask the new cast. I went, who? I didn't even stand up when they were announcing the other cast. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was such a bitter person. I was so mad. I couldn't, like, I get mad about like stuff for myself, but when it's about my brother, my friends, my family, I get like, really in there. And then, so they're calling each other out. I was like, why is Blue last? Whatever. They give me the envelope. I'm pulling it open. And I'm opening it, and I look at the name, and it says Peter Sudarshan. I was like, well, I've gone crazy. Because it can't be it. They told me it's not. I'm just like seeing what I want to see. So I just kept looking at the paper. I was like, change, bro. I don't want to look like an idiot. Change! What is his name? And then that's when Brendan came over, looked over, because I was taking forever, and with his ginormous hands, smacked me on the back. I was like, what? Actually, that is on video. What, dude? It's still his name. He's like, call his name. I was like, oh shoot, it's really him. And I tried to say his name, and I was like, in the video, you can't even tell what I say. Most people at Power Morphicon was like, what the heck did he say? What was he trying to say?
You just yelled like, get out here!
I was like, get out here! And so he came running, and I was like, well, I'm sorry, cameras. And I just fell apart. But it was a good moment. It was one of my favorite moments ever. And I didn't care about anything else in the world.
You can have the mic, because I'm normally one. I mean, I can sit here, I guess, too. Sorry, Peter.
Sorry for taking so much of that time. I know.
It was just really in-depth.
It's
so
a
now
story
you know.
everybody loves. That's what Power Rangers is, right, you guys?
Yeah!
I love it. Now, guys,
Yeah, that's right.
we've all been talking for a while, and there's been a lot going on, but you probably have some questions for our panel up here, so come on up. Jim is right here.
Yep, we'll start a line going this way this time.
There we go. If you get in the line, if you would, crouch down, please, so that this side of the room can still see our cast on that side. But
Scoot back like
yeah, whatever questions you have, please. Oh, look at this.
Hey, buddy. Good to see ya. I think he looks better than me in that suit.
Let's be real, yeah.
He wanted to know if you could be any mythological creature. Oh, have any right, have one as a pet? Any
Ooh,
mythological creature
that
you
is a
have?
good question. That's for all of us, huh? Sean, you want to start it off?
We can start down that end.
You gotta think more about this. I got it.
Yoshi is a pet.
Kidding?
Okay.
No, right.
My first thought was unicorn. We just went to was it at Hollywood Studios, the Avatar ride? Was it Animal Kingdom? Yeah, Animal Kingdom. Pandora. That was amazing. Has anybody ridden that ride yet? I mean, you get on and you feel them breathing and everything. That was pretty amazing. For sure.
One of those things. Is this wait? Sorry, if we could have one or either one, right? Have one or be one.
Have one or be one.
All right. I would want I would want to be Saban.
I don't know what that is.
You got it? That's what I would want to be.
I would like to be or have a phoenix because they come back to life, you know.
But they would burn your butt if you sat on it.
Man, why would I sit on the phoenix?
You want to fly?
Always on fire.
No, if I was a phoenix.
Oh, you was.
I mean, I feel like
Then you're burning all the time.
that's okay. I'm cold right now.
I'd probably have a Pokemon, so I'd probably I'd probably have a Mew. Yeah, I'd have a Mew because it's powerful and it's like a cute white cat. I've got a cute white cat, so it'd be a Mew.
Is your cute white cat powerful?
Yes, I do like tackle attack. I say go tackle attack, and Lily, she doesn't listen to me. Like Charizard. So.
Yeah, for me it's easy. 8-year-old Sean would want a dragon. So.
Yeah. Not 8-year-old Sean.
Yoshi.
Yoshi.
He is a mythological creature.
I guess so.
Yeah.
He is. Awesome, guys. With the questions, if you wouldn't mind ducking down just so the people on that side could see. I know it's a little awkward, and if you can't, that's quite okay. But I don't want anybody to not be able to see.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You want to be the train leader?
Set up this
I
morning.
know.
It's
We'll rearrange it for the next one, but awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, I had a question for each of every one of you, of course. If you had a choice to team up with another Power Ranger team, which would it be?
All right, Sean, on you now.
Jeez. You know, I'm going to say SPD. You know, I love the team ups that I already had, you know, as part of Lightspeed, but I think SPD would be a fun one for the cast.
You can say Lightspeed, I don't mind.
The first answer that came into my head was Time Force, just because of I don't really know the Time Force piece, but I just the ability to go in time. More for that reason. Yeah. You know, just be able to go to the past or the future. I think that's pretty cool. But no, that's not true. I've seen like probably the first like 3 or 4 episodes of Time Force. So,
What is it like to be a Power Ranger?
and they all seem cool. So yeah, Time Force.
Beast Morphers.
I was like, somebody's gonna give the church boy answer of Beast Boy.
That's right. Hey, no, well, I mean, because, like, you know, what was it? Yeah, exactly, in the Sentai, the crossover, man. Come on. I saw that movie.
It was a 3-part Sentai team.
Yep. Yeah, which is Mighty Morphin Dino Charge and Dino Thunder. But it's during
Can make it happen.
Yeah.
This is really far-fetched and out of it, but the Psycho Strangers. Yeah, the Psycho Rangers. That's our guild on Legacy Wars. Psycho Rangers. Like, we got them good.
The first one that came to my mind, we were of course Wild Force, so it was all about nature and beauty, was in space.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Right answer. No, because if you think about it, nature and our Earth really affects what happens in space, right?
Yeah.
And vice versa. So if we take care of our nature in space and Earth, so it just made sense in my head.
Good. They liked my answer.
So mine wouldn't necessarily be another another cast season, but at Morphicon I was on a panel called Shades of Pink. So we were all like, there was Forever Red? Why has there not been Forever Red? Even though I wasn't really
In the words of Zordon, too much pink energy is dangerous.
True. Since I play two characters, is it okay if I pick two different teams for each character?
Up to you.
No.
Yes.
How dare you? Okay, fine, I'll allow it.
Preston would obviously be in Mystic Force, not just because it's a bias of mine, but Mystic Force for Preston, and for Marvin, probably SPD, just because they're both cop seasons. So it'd be kind of nice to see that dynamic. And I mean, if you watch Hyperforce, there's a little bit of that dynamic, so I want to explore it more.
Yeah, not bad.
I never watched Dino Force, but I hear that there are.
There is no Dino Force. There's Dino Force Brave.
That's the Korean version.
What is it? Dinosaurs?
Dinosaurs?
Were there dinosaurs in Dino Church?
Yes, there was.
There were.
Like,
Yes.
well, if there's Yoshi and dinosaurs, I think I'd probably want to team up with that one.
We're pretty cool.
I actually had another question. What's it like to be a Power Ranger?
Spandex for life.
It's not spandex.
Oh.
It is.
It's not always spandex though, right? Like, I just a question because mine wasn't actually spandex.
Yeah, the gold was like a little
It
different.
was like a PVC type thing.
Yeah, but
It looked even
but it
less
has
comfortable.
parts spandex.
It
It has to, otherwise it doesn't stretch.
Okay. Yeah, that was a genuine question. Like, I actually didn't know.
It's actually called elastane. That's fine.
One year we need Dr. K here. So somebody can ask that question.
Hi guys, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Definitely wanted to make a comment. Appreciate you guys' taking the time out to come out and see us. I've had opportunity to speak with all of you and hang out with all of you, and you're all awesome.
You're awesome.
Definitely well worth it. Especially Preston.
Thank you guys for being
You're the man. I meant Peter. I called you Preston.
You did. That's okay.
My question is for Anne-Marie. I was thinking, so you are a mentor. So when you went in for your role, did you have an opportunity to speak with the character that played Zordon, or had the opportunity to see what he did, to see if that's something that you were gonna do? What was that like going through the process of being the mentor? And did you watch Mighty Morphin and see the mentor role?
Good question. And I'll try to make it quick. Actually, when I auditioned, I originally auditioned for the Yellow Ranger on the Wild Force. So when they called me, when they called me for the audition, at the time, now this was 16 years ago, I went to Blockbuster. Does anybody ever remember?
Yeah.
I went to Blockbuster and I went, we know, I understand, I'm there. I'm at that age. But I went to Blockbuster and rented some different Power Rangers shows just to get a feel, the timing.
Research.
Did my research and I was like, wow, this is fun. Where have I been? So then the next stop, I went to Ross department store and bought a yellow shirt because, so they could see what I looked like in yellow.
Yes.
So I auditioned for the Yellow Ranger about 3 times. I had callbacks for 3 times. And then my agent called and said, you're going to go audition for Toxica, which was
Wow.
for Toxica. So I went in and I tried to be, as evil and mean as I could, and gave them my look that usually only my husband sees. I did it. My kids. And
It's like, don't make
I went in
fun of
probably
that.
over a 6-month period, 6 times. And then by the end, towards the end of the year, I didn't get cast. So I went home for Christmas. I was bummed because that is such a cool show. That would have been so much fun. And And then the day after New Year's, like January, it was actually January 2nd, I was in Florida and my agent called and said, Emery, you've just been cast as Princess Shayla on the Power Rangers. And I said, Princess who? I never auditioned for Princess Shayla. But what had happened is, you know how they have to place actors in place. They just couldn't find a place for me, but the producer had seen the princess in me, in my auditions, whether it was for the Yellow Ranger or for Toxica, and they had actually hired a different princess, and I'm not quite sure what had happened, but they then let her go and pulled me in. And I just quickly did the first 5 episodes because they had already started filming, and I came in and met the Rangers, and thankfully they were super nice to me because they had a princess, and the next day she was just gone. So they welcomed me with open arms, and we quickly reshot a bunch of things, and there I was.
Yeah.
I heard there's a poll going that you should be a princess in Disney because you were part of that Disney era.
Where's that poll? Yeah.
She is a Disney princess, you guys. She is a Disney princess.
Yes.
Thank you. I love you. Can I keep you?
Yes.
Pretty crazy. All right, we're ready for the next one. Excellent.
I guess that would be me.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Ari, about to move to Daytona Beach. Well, I've been a Power Rangers fan for the longest time. This question is for Yoshi and Peter, actually.
Hello, I love your hat.
Thank you. I heard about Hyperforce. I did watch a few episodes. How does it feel to be a part of a tabletop live-action RPG?
Pete, you want to take it?
No, why don't you?
Let's go first.
Yeah, let's. Okay. Well, for me, it's been amazing. We got to explore a new facet of Power Rangers that has never been explored before. I'm really glad that Saban at the time took a chance on us because I think it turned into something really amazing, you know. And now we're able to create our own mythos almost and explore things that were never fully explored. Like we had Gem in a lot of those things because it was just like we wanted to see more from RPM. We wanted to see more from these types of things. So it was really nice to be able to explore that kind of stuff. What about you, Yosh?
Yeah, Peter and I have been into D&D for a little bit now at this time, and we've always found it so much fun, and we're like, why isn't there a Power Rangers one? And so we started talking, and it was fortunate that they were working on their own, so they were like, well, let's just pull you guys in. Unfortunately, I wasn't around for the first few beginning. So
he was filming a movie.
So when I got back...
And that's when Peter and I became friends.
Fine. So when I got back, it was good that actually a lot of you guys that were watching got excited about it and were asking for a 6th Ranger. They hadn't planned on the 6th Ranger. So when I was talking to them, they were like, actually, they are asking for it. I was like, I know, of course they're going to. Duh. So, yeah, I'm right here. So then we were talking about it, and they were like, what color? I was like, yeah, Peter's doing red, obviously green. You know, so it was great to be able to
be Christmas colors.
Be Christmas colors, exactly.
Well, we wanted to make an homage to like Z Ranger.
Yeah,
exactly.
The red and the green.
Which is what my 2 things that I asked for was, well, 3 things. I asked to be his brother's character, the character of his brother, and to be green and to have the shield. Those were the 3 things that I asked for. And they gave it to me after Time for Silver. Yeah, they were like, "You're gonna be Time for Silver." I was, what?
Yeah,
that's gonna confuse people. But
I think the main thing about Hyperforce that I really like is that it shows that your guys' like voice counts so much because Hyperforce was mainly a fan created thing. So
yeah, you guys put that in.
Yeah,
that
so thanks.
6th Ranger was because of you guys. So
yeah.
My question is, what was it like to work on a 25th anniversary special?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. What was it like? Oh, yes. It was amazing. Like, I didn't really think that I would ever get the chance to become Gemma again. And so it was incredible to do that. And also to meet some really famous old Rangers from the past. was incredibly exciting for me. And it was like it's been like 8 or 9 years since your IBM. It was lovely to meet up like lots of the cast and crew, like lots of the crew were the same. So it was lovely to see those old faces again. Yeah.
For me, I mean, it was really, really cool to, well, the biggest thing is I got to see Peter work on set. Like, with the stuff you didn't see on the anniversary was the cool stuff for me. You know, going to I got in, like, really early in the morning in New Zealand, and I was like, take me straight to set, because I want to see Peter work. And I got to see him work all day long with his cast and his world, you know, because he came to visit me when I was working. And then we got to do the table reads together, and there's still videos that I want to put up later. But there's so much stuff that I got to see working with all these people, and I got to see a lot of the other Rangers that I never got to meet. Like, for one, Li Ming and I, we created a bond between Koda and Gemma, because they were like the two from the completely different universe than everybody else was, you know? It was Koda is in his own world with the Dino Charge guys, and she's in her own world with the RPM guys, and they never had anything with the rest of the timeline. So it's kind of cool that we had to do something together, you know, like a little bit high five and whatnot. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I really wish we had more time to spend on it. And
I
really
do wish that we'd got to wear our suits.
Yeah,
But they
I know.
just try them on. Like, they brought my suit, they had my suit in storage in LA for all that time and then shipped it back to Auckland, and I tried it on and it still fit. Yeah, but I don't need to wear it, so.
No, that was the thing, right? Did you guys ever have a helmetless scene in your
Yeah,
season?
Mike and I had quite a few.
Dino Charge, for us, unlike, yeah, I know you did. The Red had one, and your dad had one, but like most of the rest of the cast, we never got a helmetless scene. So I was like, oh, yeah.
No, I did.
Yeah, I know all of you guys had it. We all asked for it. I asked for it.
We tried when we were all morphing like around our base, like one last time with the swords. We were supposed to be helmetless, but then time-wise, they're like, nah, let's just not do it.
That was them saying, you don't look good in the suit, Yosh. Thank you.
My question is for Peter and Yoshi. You already talked about kind of having to hide the fact that you were the Blue Ranger from him. But once that was all done, what was the biggest piece of advice you had for him about being a Power Ranger? And what was it like being a fan and now you're up there?
Well, I think in terms of advice, the main thing that I asked Yoshi was like, what should I do on set? Because he was a veteran and he knew everything in and out, and so I was like, okay, well, what am I gonna have to like expect? That kind of stuff. It wasn't like anything too much, but he gave me a lot in terms of like acting and action. So that was where most of the advice that I asked for came from. He taught me a ton. Right before Power Rangers started, he was like, let's do intensive because you need some work on your action. So he helped me a lot with that.
We didn't have much time for any of that, really. I mean, I tried to do whatever, but he handled. I said a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing was just find the positivity in everything, right?
Because at the end of the day, too, it's like, it's long hours. You know, like, it's fun. It's all fun and games, but when you're on set, it's 14 hours a day of work. You're getting picked up at 4 a.m. So what Yoshi said really helped me, like, punch through of, like, you know, at the end of the day, I can't forget about the magic of this whole thing. So that helped a lot.
Yeah, so technically it's the end, but we're gonna go a little over about 10 minutes because we
take
started
a few
late.
minutes. Yeah, so we want you guys to get to answer those questions, but remember, keep them kind of brief if you can, guys.
So the first part of my question, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, are you guys familiar with Kamen Rider by any chance?
What's that?
If you could have a crossover between what series you guys were in, which writer would you choose to have a crossover with?
Black.
Kamen Rider Dragon
I know
Knight.
Wizard of Ghost.
And also I know he's in the room, but I just want to say that Sean is definitely like my favorite Red Ranger, but yeah.
Oh, where's Sean? Now that he's I know.
I'll make sure to tell him. I'll make
We
sure
gotta
to
give him
tell
a lot of love.
Yeah,
He's a good man.
As soon as he leaves.
yeah.
This is actually for Peter and Yoshi again.
Sup.
I don't remember where, but I heard a rumor that for the Power Morphicon reveal that originally they were going to have them come out in the Ranger suits with the helmets on.
Yeah, that's actually what it was supposed to be. I was supposed to get up there with the helmets on and they were going to take it off. but then they didn't realize that you have to clasp it. So then it would be like, we got up there and we'd have to wait because we actually rehearsed it. And they were like, okay, this is taking like 20 hours.
No,
this isn't gonna work.
I could have helped you out with that.
Oh, thanks.
If you had told me the truth.
And I just had another quick question for all of you guys. I've asked this one before to a few of you. What was your least favorite episode to film?
Least favorite.
I don't got one.
Every day you got to go to work and get paid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, she's got one.
I don't know what episode it was, but we were in slime, like goo, and it was so disgusting. We were like in these vines and just they kept sliming us and sliming us and sliming us.
What is this, Nickelodeon?
And it was so gross. Yeah, that was not fun.
Yikes.
Germs, you know. Germs.
Got it.
These guys keep asking me to go to the gym with them, and I'm like,
It's like
Hi guys. First of all, Dino Charge and Ninja Steel, absolutely love. RPM, still my favorite Disney Saban era.
Okay, you have to say Wild Force now because you're the only ones here.
I'm sorry. Wild Force is still one of my favorites. And Wild Force.
No, I thought we were friends.
Yes, we are. We were. My question is, what was your favorite memory to filming on set?
For everybody?
Yeah.
Except one.
Go.
oh, mine was fighting my dad and getting fighting. I got like a beat down from my dad, who actually Branscombe Richmond. He was on a show called Renegade back in the day, but he was Bro's dad, like in real life. One of our PA's dads in real life was my dad on the show.
The meta-ness.
It was so much fun, and then in that dance scene that I do with like my class, those were all my friends in the like dance scene, so that was cool, bringing all my friends on set. And then I did a bicycle, like I jump over these two old ladies in the park on a bike, so like they rigged me up to the rig. And then later they found out that the two ladies that were sitting on the bench weren't even like extras. They were just like two ladies who were sitting on the bench.
Nobody checked?
Yeah.
Nobody asked?
Good thing I
second
didn't
80
them.
doing? Oh my.
Those were great. Episodes. I guess, of course, my favorite would be.
Sing the song.
Sing.
Would probably be my favorite.
Woo!
Each day when the sun rises, I hurry from my sleep.
She's a Disney princess.
I can
Yes.
reach you with my song. That was probably my favorite.
Yo, she actually is.
And a teeny tiny quick story. The director had asked me one day, he said, Anne-Marie, can you sing? And I was like, why, yes, I can sing. Because as actors, you always say yes, and then you figure out how to do it, whenever they're asking. And he said, because in the Japanese version, the princess sang. So rather as an actor just saying, yes, I can do it, that weekend I went to my friend's studio and I said, we've got to record a song. So what's kind of a princess song? I love Karen Carpenter because I love Karen Carpenter. So we recorded a beautiful Karen Carpenter song. So Monday morning, the producer and the director both had CDs on their desks from the princess, just to ensure that they understood that I could sing. And that week we were in the recording studio, and that's that. So as the Power Rangers would say, never give up. Always go that extra step, that extra mile. Don't leave them guessing. Show them, what you can do. So.
Get it.
Okay, just quickly, are we all doing stories?
If you want to.
Okay.
We got 2 more questions after this stuff.
Okay, well, there was one, I think, remember, Mike, we had one genuine big explosion where they got the pyrotechnics team in and set up a massive explosion.
Was it the behind the scenes episode?
Oh, was it behind the
was
scenes?
it? No, what?
Well, all I remember is that we set up a massive explosion, and because how Jem and Jenna love explosions,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
we
yeah.
got to actually do one. That was probably one of my favorites.
Sounds so scary.
Mine was, I think it was like Belly of the Beast. It was the one where they go into the factory to save this, the workers or whatever. I don't know, it was just kind of everyone coming together for the epic task. That was kind of cool, I thought. And we were out on location, and I don't know, that kind of thing about that goes, that's my memory. It's like a really cool episode.
My favorite one was probably my very first time that I morphed, because we had a flash morph. So I had to like freeze there while it was like raining, by the way, thanks New Zealand. We were in the forest, it was like raining hard, and I had to like stay there and freeze, and then they made us step out, and then the suit rangers would come in our position. But it was like raining a ton, and we had already been like really, really tired. So my mood was like kind of just like, okay, this is work, I gotta do it as best as I can, and I was doing that. And then when I went to the back and I was looking at playback, they skipped over me stepping out and the other suit actor stepping in. So all I saw was me going like this, and suddenly a Power Ranger was there, and then that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my god, these like 7 years of like trying really hard, I finally did it. I'm a Power Ranger. So that was my favorite part of the film.
That's awesome, man. Very cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and make time for these 2 more questions. Absolutely.
Hello.
Hi.
So my question is, what is the most embarrassing moment you've had with a fan?
With a fan?
Oh.
I have one.
Oh.
So quick to grab the mic.
A couple years ago, I was in Vegas for a trade show. I
dang it!
I like design and manufacture women's clothing. So I was at the licensing expo, and I saw the Saban booth, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go walk over there. So I walked over there, and I saw in suit Power Rangers, and I was like, this is so funny, like my business world never crosses with my Power Ranger world. So I went over there and I was like, hey, can I get a picture with you guys? And they were like, yeah, you know, doing this, because like they're not talking, they're in their helmets, and I was like, yeah, I was like, this is gonna sound weird, but I was a Power Ranger too, but like whatever, like that doesn't mean anything to you. And so we're standing there at like posing, like let's do a fight pose, and then the Red Ranger is like right next to me, like everyone else is staring at the camera, and the Red Ranger is like and he goes, who are you? And I was like, what? Like, who are you? And he was like, no, what season were you on? And I was like, oh, I was Alyssa on Wild Force. I was Wild Force White. And he was like, oh, I was Dino Charge, red, blue, green, red, whatever. And he goes, I'm a Power Ranger too. He goes, I'm a Power Ranger too. And I was like, sure you are. Yeah. Awesome. Great. Yeah. Cool. And then later that day I posted the picture, and he found me on Instagram, and he goes, hey, it was me. So if you want to see the picture, you can like scroll back on my Instagram feed and see him.
Dang it! I forgot I had a helmet on. I got so excited. I was like, wait, what season? And I was asking all these questions, and I was like, I have a giant helmet on, and I'm doing this to her. Oh my god. And the guy only took 1 photo. Oh.
Awkward.
There's a story with a fan, for sure.
Yeah.
I think my most embarrassing moment was at Power Morphicon last a couple of months ago, where I did my first ever panel. This is only my second ever panel, and they asked us to finish. It was an RPM panel, and they asked us to finish off by doing our morphs. And it had been such a very long time since I'd done my morph, and of course Mike's such a pro that he could just whip it out. And so me and Mike stood up together.
Come on.
Yeah, well, I don't know about the other stuff. And yeah, I couldn't do my morph, and so I was trying to do it. But it's okay. I think I'm over it.
It was Li Ming's first, PMC was Li Ming's first convention, and she was going, oh, hey, teach me more.
Yeah, and Mike still hasn't taught. He was meant to teach me this weekend.
But she was expecting to do it at panels. I'm like, oh no, that doesn't always happen at panels. Like,
I should still learn it though, right?
So you know.
Alright guys, we got time for one last question, and we actually don't have time for it, but we're gonna do it anyway. That's it.
If you had the chance to be any other ranger in the English and the Japanese version, would you?
I think everything happens for a reason, and we're in the right colors and the right Rangers for a reason.
Wow, that's an answer.
Are you politically correct? No, that's true though.
Yeah,
I mean, I like Kane from Kyoto Hoosier. He was really good too.
Woo!
But no, he got the shirtless scene. Yoshi and I tried forever.
Bring me into this.
No, you're in this. Every week. Well, like, okay, maybe like bi-weekly, but we go to Chip and we're like, so, are you writing that shirtless fight scene in the rain yet for us? And he's like, yeah, I'm working on it. And I was like, so, is the season finale? And he's like, no.
What?
Yeah. That's it.
He just dragged me along with him. I didn't do anything.
What about anybody else? Anybody else ever want to be a different character? You just happy with? Oh, you got good roles. Everybody was perfectly cast.
I don't know. To be honest, I don't know enough of the other Rangers to
You mean you didn't watch Dino Charge? It's fine. I stopped watching after you came on.
Okay, you know what's a segue in?
The Ranger love, guys. The Ranger love. I think that's a good note to end it on, you guys.
Absolutely.
So that's it. But you guys, please give it up for the cast of Power Rangers.
And for you guys too. Seriously, you guys coming out here?